participating in the career webinar from the Lighthouse for the Blind. My name is Cheryl Cummings. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Workforce Development Manager here at the Lighthouse. I am a Black American woman who is blind. Today, there are 3 business owners who are guests and who will introduce themselves in a moment. There are also 2 ASL interpreters who are on screen and will spotlight themselves throughout the webinar. Captions are turned on. I also want to recognize our moderator, Elena. Elena will be here and let us know if there are any raised hands or questions in the chat. This is part of a series of webinars for people who are blind or low vision, deafblind, or blind with other disabilities. The purpose of the series of webinars is to provide you with tools and resources which you can use to actively chart your career exploration and development. Each month, we focus on different topics, such as tools to write a resume, the use of assistive technologies in the job search process, interviewing, networking, and this month's topic, self-employment. Look for future webinars, and please do join us again. So to get us started, I want to invite our panelists to introduce themselves. So if you could please tell us your name, the name of your business, and how long have you been in business? And I think we'll start with Artis, and then Jason, and then Monica.
Okay. Hello, my name is Artis Bazin. The name of my business is Bazin Communications. I'm a speaker, business coach, and writer, and I've been in this business for 25 years.
Wow. Jason? Uh-oh. Are you muted? Let's see. All right, so maybe Jason is muted. So Monica, why
Hi,
did
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
I hit the mute button every time I hit it, it went back to mute. So that's just a technical advice here. My name is Jason Miller. I am from Partial Access Solutions. That is my company. We are access technology servicing company for the greater Philadelphia 5 region area. Part of our company is also providing accessible transportation. And that's what we do. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks, Jason. Monica.
Hi, my name is Monica Mirth, and my business is called Simply Hot Yoga Wellness Center. We provide hot yoga classes, warm yoga classes. We do warm bar, Pilates, sculpt, fitness classes, and we have infrared saunas. And I've been open for 12 years now.
Wow, you are also impressive. But thank you all so much for being here. Today our topic, as I mentioned earlier, is self-employment. This is an option that we sometimes forget, or we might think it is so difficult that we decide not to pursue it. However, as you said, we are so fortunate. We have 3 business owners who are themselves blind or low vision, and they're here to share their experiences of starting and running a business with us. So sort of the format for today is that I'm going to ask a few questions. I'll take that privilege, and then I'm going to pause and invite you, the attendees, to ask your questions. And then once we're through there, I have some more questions, and then we'll pause again, and you can ask your questions, and we'll see where we go. So I would love to start with this question. And maybe we could go Jason, Monica, Artis. If you can vote, if you could just answer, what motivated you to start your business that you're currently operating?
Okay, I'll jump in here.
Yeah.
Uh, I was actually on a corporate training for Verizon, and I was in Colorado, and I took a peep at an invoice for my company, and my eyes, the little eyes that I have, just went, "Wow, how are you making this company this much money, and you're doing all the work?" And that's how my company began.
Wow. Okay. Monica, what about you?
For me, I actually started off my career. I lose some bonus points, and I used to be an IT auditor when I first started out. So I
Mhm.
was a different career path. So I was in corporate. I did IT auditing. I did internal auditing, and just being in corporate America with vision, especially auditing, looking for all these little small pennies everywhere. It just was really hard. But in my passion in my world was always, I was always into wellness and fitness, taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
And I found that the more that I was in corporate, the more less time that I had, to work out. I started to just, I wasn't able to take care of myself. And I saw people around me that, the job was just anti what I always believed. And so, and being an auditor, nobody ever wants to see you coming. And I like people. And so for me, it was just a shift of like, my priority and my passion is to help people become better people in their wellness and their health, journey. And so I just did a complete turn. I fell in love with hot yoga, and then I just decided I wanted to open my own business. And I just was like, what better way to serve my community, to make people feel better about themselves and focus on, health is wealth for me. So that's kind of where my journey started and what motivated me to get out there and help people.
Nice. Thank you. Artist, what about you?
Okay. Actually, I got involved in the Randolph Shepherd program as an entrepreneur first. And while I managed several different food service operations, I decided I really didn't like that totally. I mean, it was okay, but I preferred the management side and training people, working people to help them get better. And then I used to be a speaker on the side. And I
Mm.
just decided to change my business and do that full time instead. And so that's how I started my current business.
Wow. So very sort of different motivators, but everybody in the end decided that you wanted to do something that was sort of led by you, and here you are in running a business. So once you knew like you wanted to be self-employed and to run your own business, could you talk a little bit about like what were some of the first actions you took to set up your business and so let's see, Monica, artist, Jason.
Okay, Monica.
So for me, let's see. I mean, so I actually got late. I was working at Starbucks I was internal audit for Starbucks, and then couple many years ago when they did all those store closures, and so they came after corporate. So I actually got laid off. I think the laying off was kind of like I just, everyone was sad that I was leaving, but for me, I just knew that this door is closing and the next one's about to open. I just didn't know what it was. And then, so when I was like, I don't want to go back to corporate, I actually went to the Department of State Services for the Blind, and I had worked with Linda Wilder forever. So she kind of coached me through high school and through college. And so now I just kind of went back to her as a resource to kind of be like, I don't want to go back to internal audit. I want to open a business. I don't know what I want to do, but I really love hot yoga.
Mm,
So that kind of was like where I started my path. And so because I did have a business degree, I did know that the start of my everything was going to have to be sit down and start to work on my business plan. And so that's pretty much what I did. I used Linda as a resource, and I would just go and, I found like, how to write, a business plan. And I started just working on like my mission, my vision, my demographic, my market, my financials. And it was tough. It took me many, many months. But I think that was the start of having a real thorough thought out plan. Because some of the questions that were in there, I was like, I don't know. I mean, demographic, I was like, everybody. I want everyone to do yoga. Now, years and years later, I'm like, oh, well, now I understand what that question was meant for. So I think that like starting off, business plan is definitely the way to start off.
Okay, thanks. I forget.
Okay. I started with a business plan as well. I wrote the business plan and then I asked someone I knew who was a webmaster to put a site together for me, a website. And then I looked for grants to help me to start my business,
Hey
to
Siri,
help me
turn on Do Not
get
Disturb.
a new computer and a braille printer and some of the other things I needed. So
Mhm.
those are my first steps.
Okay. Jason, thank you. Jason, what about you? I think he muted.
I every time I unmute, someone mutes me back. So there's a lot of common denominators here, okay? I was a business enterprise program member myself before going into business for myself. And then I became a director at an access technology company in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. The biggest thing that really affected me, like both of these young ladies said, business plan writing. Okay,
Mm,
3 years, 5 years. Now we're on our 5 to 10 years. So when it came to hunching down and studying and really preparing myself for business, that business plan really anchored me to my success because I worked with a business mentor and we had focus points that I met each time. And right now we're in 8 years of business. So I'm on my 5 to 10, and we're actually above my expectations right now. So that gives me growth to actually expand from within. So I would say if you write a really truthful business plan that's reachable and you follow it, it can really happen for you, but it does take a lot of hard work. Owning a business is 24/7,
mm.
365. There's no break. Okay. And we run two types of business under my umbrella. So, again, that business plan was essential, and I still run with my business plan as we approach our 10-year mark. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, thank you. So I hear everybody has definitely said you need a business plan. And I think everybody said, that you really worked on making sure that you sort of answered all the questions. And some people have talked about mentors. So this isn't one of the questions I wrote down, but I'd love for you to maybe talk a little bit about like who did you turn to, or where did you go for some of the answers? Because a business plan is quite a document to work on. So, Jason, you started talking, you mentioned you have a business mentor. So could you talk a little bit about who's like, how did you find that person?
Each time they keep muting me. So, can you hear me again?
We can.
This is fun. I mean, I play audio games, Forza Motorsports, Madden. This is fun. I'm a keyboardist.
Okay.
So, friends of mine own businesses in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York City. Now,
Mhm.
one friend of mine was a director of the welfare department in Atlantic City, and Latoya was awesome. And she really worked with me on all of my focus points. And she was a mentor to others throughout the area. So I worked with her, and I still work with Latoya. I mean, she gives me pointers, and I'm the type of person that has a lot of creative ideas all the time. And so
Mhm.
she gave me so many pointers about keeping those ideas tangible, approachable, and
Right.
making them a reality. So yeah, my business mentor, I love her, and she just got me to the next level. And in return, I mentor others in business. I try to help others become vision impaired entrepreneurs and get the creative juices flowing and try to make it tangible for them. So yeah, business mentor was everything for me.
So, Jason, why don't you just stay unmuted?
Yeah,
Um,
let's hope we're not playing Mortal Kombat anymore here.
okay. Um, so Monica, you talked about your relationship with your VR counselor and how that was really important. But I'm wondering, did your counselor sort of point you to other resources, or was she the primary person who sort of helped you through the business plan?
She was my primary person that I went to. I mean, along the way, there were some people, like I remember, and I just can't remember who it was, but there was somebody that like helped me like in like the financials, because of course, when you have a business plan and it's like, go map out what your projected, revenue for the next couple years, and you're like, I don't even know where to start to make it
Mm,
realistic. So I did have like a financial person that I worked with a little bit more, that kind of gave me a little bit more, kind of narrowing things down, like on the business side.
right.
And then there was also a panel of them that would come at me and ask me questions, like one big question, that the shopping plaza that I had chosen, there were a lot of I just went to the spot, the space, and it was just it. I just knew it. And
Mm,
then they came back to me and they said, well, the shopping plaza that you're in, there's a lot of vacant spots. And
mm,
why is that? And so then I'm like, I wouldn't even thought about that. And let me go find out.
mhm,
So it was stuff like that that was really good, because you can think in your world of like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. But then when I had my business mentor counselor, like they just, like the same thing. It's like, who is your demographic? Like, who are you targeting? Like, what do you like? Because you just don't think the big picture, a lot. And then the other thing that I had, just fortunately, is I had a really good friend of mine that she was like 4 years into her own hot yoga studio. So I was
mhm,
able to also ask her, like, where do you get strong heaters that we can turn the heat all the way up to 120 degrees? And what am I getting myself into? So I think if you can find somebody that's kind of doing what you're doing, it just helps that you don't have to recreate the wheel in certain areas. And she gave me a lot of good feedback and good advice, and having people to talk to about what you want to do definitely helps answer some of the questions that you didn't even think about in the beginning.
nice. And thank you. And artist, what about you?
Yes. When I started thinking about doing another business, I got in touch with the Small Business Association, and they have community development centers in most cities of a decent size. So at the time, I was living in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I went there to talk with them about my business plan, and they walked me through different areas I needed to concentrate on and help me really to make my business plan full, because I had kind of had an outline, but they really helped me look into it a little bit further. And then when I moved to Burbank, California, because I moved like basically a few months after I just started my business.
Mhm,
So then I went to a small business center near there and got a SCORE mentor, which are retired people in business. And then he worked with me on some marketing areas to concentrate on, and possibly looking into getting some federal or state contracting, which I opted not to do. But he, told me the ins and outs of different things where I could get more business, etc. So I do think, having working with people that have had experience
mhm.
to help get you started really is a good idea. If nothing else, talk to other blind business owners.
Excellent. Excellent. Um, so we're gonna pause here and invite our attendees to raise their hand and to ask questions if they have any questions.
All right. We have a question in the chat from Corey. And they asked, hey there, was very curious about what grants you may have leveraged as someone with low vision and blindness to help fund your business.
Oh, that would be for artists.
Yes, I was able to get a grant. Fortunately, I was pretty active in the American Council of Blind. And at that time, when I was looking to start this business, the executive director knew of an organization called Opportunities for the Blind. And they did grants for people wanting to start a business. Unfortunately, they're no longer there in business. So, but they gave me a $7,500 grant, which helped me get a new braille printer, a computer, and helped me with some marketing costs for my initial marketing. And I did check a bunch of different places. The SBA does have some grants, but they're pretty specific in what kind of grants they have. But I, just urge you to just go online and Google grants and see what there is. There aren't a ton of them for starting a small business, but it doesn't hurt to check in with your state agencies too, because sometimes they know of funding sources, and sometimes your state rehab will help you with some startup costs. It depends on what state you live on and how open they are to people starting their own business.
So Monica and Jason, do you guys have anything to add? You didn't mention grants in particular, but maybe you've had some experience with grants.
Yeah, goalice.com is a good website to check out also. They're very good with small businesses. I'm involved with Go Alice, and they always have grant opportunities that you can, apply for. I would check that out. I'm also SBA. I've been SBA since 2017 when we've been LLC and we got our Dun and Bradstreet. So SBA is also a very good place to get started. Also, contact your local legislation, okay, city council, and see what your city can offer you, borough and or township. You'll be surprised what you may find in budgeting. There's usually some type of set aside money for small businesses, and if you're a minority and we're blind, low vision, and I'm a black man in a hub zone, which means underprivileged zone. So I get various tax write-offs for my business as a vision impaired person. So do check out those options. Some of them may work for you.
And you said Go Alice, is it GOALICE?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Monica, do you have anything?
For me, again, the Department of State Services for the Blind, I actually was able to get a grant from them, for starting up for like business startup stuff. So that's where it was most helpful for getting a grant starting up my business.
Okay, thanks. All right, do we have any more like questions or raised hands?
I
Yes,
saw a
we have.
question about, I'm sorry, let me share that.
Good.
Yes, we have a question in the chat from Jim. How much of your current marketing efforts are dedicated at social media?
Yeah, yeah. So I would say for me, I would say 85%. I'm a social marketing uh, cray cray, like my mother or like my daughter said, you're crazy, dad. So I do a lot of social marketing on various platforms. Why? Because it's free advertising. Okay. And so if you create the right marketing throughout your social networks, that gives you a great organic following. So we do have your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter. We have also Blueski, and we also have a YouTube page that's growing exponentially. So even if you post once or twice a week and just give a, hello, we're here, this is what we're doing today, people are interested in what you're doing. And if you want to continue that success, for me at least, social marketing was a free way to go ahead and accomplish that. I also took some courses in social marketing and advertising. And so we call it SNS, social marketing for success, SMS, excuse me, a little coffee this evening. So yeah, marketing on social networks in 2025, very important.
Monica, artists, are you guys doing social marketing?
I do some. I have a Facebook page and I have a LinkedIn page. I don't get on them often enough.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, they both take a lot of time because with a screen reader, it's, a lot of looking to put things in the right place. And so it does take a bunch of time. So I don't do enough of it. I should do more. I've, thought about maybe hiring somebody to do some of it for me because it just takes so much of my time away from, my client's time.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and I have an email list, which I use, and I do try to do a online newsletter that I haven't put on my website.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, it takes time to do that, and it's important to do it regularly, and I don't do it regularly enough. But I do try to keep up to date with as much as possible.
Yeah, I hear.
Mhm.
Monica, what about you?
Yeah, we do the Facebook, we do Instagram. When I first so I had to actually hire somebody on because before there's a point if you go through our social media, you can tell where Monica stopped doing it. Um, I just would go on there and just find something inspirational, just post it on there. So I agree, it just took so much time. I'd have to
Mm-hmm.
sit there and be like, what inspirational thing, what quote can I find, does it fit here, does it fit here? And I'm not the greatest with I post like dinners that I make and stuff like that, but I don't do a lot of posting, so I literally had to get somebody. So I had hired somebody, and she's like kind of like my marketing person. And
Okay.
especially with yoga, because everybody now that she's taken over, like our students love to see us, so now it's like, there's like, my pictures up there, my instructors. I just hired like a whole bunch of instructors. And so like we're starting to do more efforts of like putting their faces out there, because students love when they see their instructors. They love seeing that stuff. And we do yoga, so there's all kind of cool pictures and posts and happy vibes and stuff. So over the past year, our social media has gotten so much, it's just changed. Like everybody's on there, and they find out a lot of the stuff, like information, new class coming,
Mm-hmm.
class
Hmm.
canceled, or happy, happy this, or what are you grateful for today, how do you express your gratitude, that kind of stuff. So it really worked for us. We definitely had to get on the ball with that.
Nice. All right. Um, Maybe one more question in this segment, and then we're gonna move on, and there will be another chance to ask questions. There,
Uh,
uh,
all right, we have a question from Jalicia. You are unmuted. If you could also unmute yourself.
You can hear me?
yes.
My question is, what is a common misconception about self-employment as a person with a disability, and how can it be addressed?
Ooh, that's a good question.
The
They
reason why
always
I asked
told me,
because I'm visually impaired also, and I had started my own business, but I had to cut it take it offline because I couldn't manage it because I had to have eye surgery.
mm,
And I use Zoom ticks.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, if you like, I can start with that
Sure.
one.
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
artist.
okay. The biggest misconception is with people. People think, okay, I can start my own business. That way I can stay home. I can do it from my home and I don't have to go out, find good transportation, go to anywhere. But that's a big misconception because the only way you're going to share your business and get clients is if you go out there and network. And if you're not out there networking, in person works wonderful. You can do it online some, but in person actually works better, especially as a blind person, because people like to actually see you out there. They just see you online. A lot of times they think you aren't capable of doing what you can do. And that's another misconception you have to tell your clients. You have to make sure your clients are aware that you can accomplish what you're going to do. And if you go out there in person and go to a networking group and they see you there, um, meeting people, talking to people, and they see you can actually be by yourself and go to a place by yourself, they're going to be much more likely to want to do business with you.
Monica or Jason, do you guys want to answer?
I would say, I agree with artist number one. Absolutely. Having your face in the place is definitely important. So for me as a tech guy, going to accessible tech events at Temple University, LaSalle University in my area, St. Joseph's, Villanova, going to their access technology centers, making myself known. Overbrook School for the Blind, and I actually trained some of their teachers up there now. That helped me get to another level, to see my face, to see my footwork, my cane, tap, tap, tapping on those floors means everything because it gives you a tangible feel that I'm just like you. And guess what? I am just like you. I became hyper focused on success by any means. And so through these years of just trying to succeed, I just kept pushing myself forward. So the more that they see that you're busy, you can do it. Take no. Someone tells you no, say yes, I can do that. Your mark is going to be 3 years. If you make profit after 3 years, you're doing something. Most businesses fail after 3 years. This is textbook. And so I followed a lot of my studies to help me get to that level. And of course, in person appearances mean everything. And for us as blind or low vision people, that goes back to that social networking too. You can go live now. When you're sitting in your car on the way to a training, go live. Talk about your day and what you're doing for that day. And that's part of that organic followership that you gain. Instagram loves it. Actually, LinkedIn loves it too. People just like to see that you're doing your thing. So, yeah, that's where we are.
And Monica, do you have any thing to add about some of the common misconceptions about a blind person owning a business?
I think that first, I mean, I'll first say that like anybody running a business, I don't care if you have a disability or whatever it is, it is a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work. And I think probably like for me, a lot of times like I think people who come into my life or come in my world or like my students that get to know me, I think the biggest, it's kind of like I can't believe you do this all by yourself. So I feel like it's just that it's like the although there's some things that take me a little bit longer, it takes a little bit more effort to do the things, but I think that like it's hard sometimes when a person it's like they're just really impressed that like I can't believe that you do all of this and you're visually impaired. So I think that like the fact that knowing that we can do anything. We're like I always tell my students, the only thing difference between me and you guys is that I own this place. Now, does it take me a lot extra work to do some of the things? It does, but also in life, anything that you want to do, you will just do whatever it takes to get there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the harder thing is just realizing that we can get we work hard, but we have to work a little bit harder. But then there's also things that there's always silver linings. I feel like with particularly with my vision, it's like there's also silver linings that are also that are kind of like blessings that kind of come out with the things that you deal with. It's not always a bad thing. I mean, like for me, I teach yoga. I'm not a very visual person, and so I am really, really good. I can sit in the back of the room and teach an entire yoga class just with all my words. And you don't have to look at me. I don't have to go up there and demonstrate. So people who are like, man, you're really, really good at this. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm just more of I'm not a visual person. I'm a very audible person. So I can walk you through this whole class with just my words. So
Hmm.
that's just the basic thing is that it's just that because you have a disability, I mean, it's a little bit harder, but the harder it forces you to work harder, and that hard work will always just pay off.
Hmm. All right. So I suspect, do we have any raised hands, Elena? Or
No.
no? Okay. So I'm going to ask a question. I want you guys to get specific. So I would love to know if you can talk about maybe one or two challenges that you face running running your business as a person who's blind, and then what did you do or are you doing to overcome those challenges? So I'm going to start with Jason, then Monica, and then Artis.
You must have heard me chuckle.
Oh.
During COVID with the PPP loans, it was something else. So the websites here in Pennsylvania, believe it or not accessible, and state websites. So
Mm.
when we were in the process of applying for PPP and other things, we couldn't get anything done because the websites were totally inaccessible. And you're talking to an access technology section 508 guy here, and I
Mhm.
couldn't navigate it. And I developed curriculum for inaccessible websites. So I had to go through my local area, and then my legislator, and finally to the governor's office to get that website accessible for persons who use screen reading technology. In turn, it opened up other accessible doors for blind computer users using their website. So we kind of made a good change for the state of Pennsylvania during that time as far as web accessibility and persons using a screen reader being able to interface with their website in order to conduct business.
Mm.
And I mean, it was almost illegal anyway that I couldn't conduct business under
Right.
Section 5, under ADA on a state website. So they did give me good attention to that. And I worked with a state representative personally who became a good friend of mine still. So that's part of that networking and building. And that network became stronger and stronger. So my company has some great contacts in the state of Pennsylvania on a government level because of that situation. So we made a bad situation good, and we also fixed some accessibility issues on a state level.
All right. Thanks. Monica, what about you?
Oh, let's see. I think like just to my specific business industry, like the hardest thing for me personally is working. So when like we have our front desk, and new students come in there, and it's a couple of things. When a person like walks in, like so with I have like Stargardt's, which is like a form of macular degeneration, so it's hard for me to like make like eye contact with people.
Hmm.
And so when people come in, they walk in the front door. So sometimes it's like it might be a student that I just don't I can't recognize them until they get closer. So it's kind of that kind of having to be like, hi. And one of my friends might like, oh, it's me, Kara. And okay. But then when people who are like just new coming in asking questions, it's a little bit hard to navigate through that because, I don't have a problem with telling people about my vision, but I also have with my eye condition, it's called like an invisible disability. So
Hmm.
off the bat, you wouldn't tell by just looking at me. And so when a person comes in also and needs to buy something on my own computer, even though I do have a Zoom function on there, but it's just that thing of like how close I have to look. I have people that sometimes will look at you and just be like, don't you think you need a pair of glasses, young lady? And it's just those comments that you're just like, so, to help me, I just get helpers. So I don't have to work on the computer. That's the easiest thing to do. And then the other thing is that I just tell whenever I get an opportunity, like if a student is with me after class, they just happen to be left alone. I try to share with many of my students to let them know, just so they know. I mean, there's one thing of like not telling somebody, but just letting them know. So when you walk in here and it looks like, so my students will come in now and they're like, hi, Monica, it's me, Shelly. And that helps me out a lot. So the more I'm able to like share with people and let them know about my eye condition.
Hmm.
And with my manager, anytime we have a meeting with anybody, like someone's coming down there, she'll always let them know in advance. And I would, in the beginning, I was kind of like, that's probably, but now it just helps. So when somebody comes to a meeting, it's already out on the table. They already know if they have questions. It's just, so there's not that weird thing of like, is she looking at me? Is she looking? But they do the look over
Right.
shoulder, and
Right.
it just makes it so much more comfortable. But I mean, honestly, the hardest part is just dealing with the public on a first come. I'm just here to ask some questions, and it's just trying to like, navigate through that, and then letting people know, my true story.
Hmm. Yeah. No, thank you. Um, Artist, what about you?
Oh, okay. One of the challenges that I found right away was um, getting sighted people to understand my capabilities.
Mm.
And there, as I mentioned kind of a little bit earlier, networking in person, I kind of alleviates people's fears about the fact that you can do things on your own. Another issue that I have is volunteer. Um, I volunteer for a lot of organizations because I like to help people. But one of the challenges I have is then people get the feeling that, okay, they can call me and ask for information. And I'm happy to give them information about the organizations that I work in. But then when they want to ask me specifics about starting a business, I don't mind sending them a list of things for a business plan and sending them a quiz about whether they'd be a good question, entrepreneur, things like that. But when they want me to get into specifics about what they need to do, then I'm a business coach and consultant. So then I need to be paid.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, sometimes when you're a volunteer, people assume that you can just do all the coaching without charging a fee.
Mhm.
Right.
I notice this particularly with visually impaired people. I've never had anyone excited that would ask me, to do coaching for free.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. But can I just say, I mean, so these are all, I think, like really recognition of like some real sort of important and significant challenges that you've all figured out how to overcome. Um, and I think one of the things I thought I heard Jaleesa asking a little bit about was, maybe feeling a little overwhelmed of having to do things, but it sounds like maybe all of you have figured out how to do you hire people to assist you with things that um, you know, may not be like the best use of your time, or do you draw on volunteers or family members? How do you do that? Uh,
For
Monica.
me,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
Monica,
Jason,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
I, I talk too much. Let Monica go.
Okay. So why don't we go Monica, Jason, artist?
I talk a lot. Look, I talk all day long. Um, Well, for me, honestly, so when I first started my business, I mean, it was pretty much just me, and I'm not gonna lie, I did everything. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, I don't even really know how I did it. But again, when you're in survival mode, you just do whatever it takes to survive. But
Hmm.
for me, it came down to literally just hiring somebody. I mean, the girl that I hired to do my marketing managing stuff, I mean, she's been with me like for a year, and now I'm like, I don't know how I would not be able to survive with her because there are some things that are more challenging that she acknowledges. It just takes me a lot longer. So sometimes I get an email and it's just like, can you read through this and just like summarize and let me know what I need to do? And
Hmm.
that just makes life easier.
Hmm.
So I just find that the things that are just like daunting, like for me too, is like going through mail. I mean, having to sit there and like take a picture and select all and read it to me, and I just like those kind of things. It's just easier to just, hey, can you check out this document and see what is it? Just let me know what we need to do. And then she's like, do you want me just to do it? Thank goodness. So
Yeah.
Delta was really hard for me in the beginning because I'm like, if I want to do it right, I have to be the one to do it. And learning to trust somebody else that sees your vision and that has your back, having
Hmm.
her come on. Yeah, I mean, it was like 10 exhales. I mean, I can't, I'm not, it just was, getting someone that you actually pay. And I think that the hard part was like, in case, like, for me, it was always like, I don't have money. I don't have the money to hire somebody. That was my story always. And I'm like, I just do it. Why don't I just do it? It'll save me money. But the time that it saves me, and she can do things way fast. Some of the things she can do way faster than I can. I mean, I just would not go back. I mean, put her on social media and she's just, I wake up and I'm like, hey, my page is saying happy birthday to me. How's that? so, so yeah, I would definitely say if you can hire someone, the money that you put out, it's like, tenfold back at you. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thanks. Um, Jason, what about you?
Okay, so like Monica and probably I'm sure artists, we're war tested. So there's no no's when you're creating your business, your dreams, your future. And so whenever I got to a supposed dead end, I found a way to, get over that dead end and make a new way, a new lane. Um, in business school, you learn kind of stay away from family a little bit in your business because family is family, right? So one
Mm.
minute they'll do what they tell you to do, the other, back in the day, I gave you $10. You didn't pay me back. You can't let that go. So, you want to begin as you flourish in your business to hire some people that's on payroll. And so luckily we were able to hire a tech guy. So now I have a lead tech guy that handles a lot of the stuff that I'm too busy to do now.
Hmm.
But I would say 2, 3 years ago, I did everything. All the social networking, every report, every P&L. We have a blog every week. We have a newsletter every month. Matter of fact, my blog comes out tomorrow, Wednesdays. So these are the things that I still do myself because I like to have my hands in the mud. I like to be creative. But what you can't handle, it would be good to have somebody that you're paying on payroll to do the things that you can't do. It helps with the accessibility issues. And, your son, your niece, or that cousin who can't make it by 6:30, you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore because they get paid to do that. So, yeah, that's where we are.
Okay, thanks. Artist, what about you?
Hmm. Okay. Initially, when I started my business, I had teenagers at home, so I could help them read some different things to me that I needed read, etc. But then when I moved, then I no longer had them. They were in college. So then I had to hire a reader to do mail. And I also hired readers to, or different business people to do different aspects. I have a computer tech that helps me with everything on my computer.
Mm.
I've switched computer techs through the years, but I had a website designer that puts all my stuff on the website. And of course, I have to pay them. And I always have had readers. You lose a reader, you get a new reader, and you have to train them to do this, read the things the way you want them to read things. And now I still use a reader to go over articles and stuff I've written and stuff to make sure they look good visually.
Hmm.
I'm a good reader, but you don't always catch everything that's visual. And I also, now I'm at the best part because my husband retired a couple of years ago. So I put him to work when I've got things that are online that take me a lot of time to do.
Hmm.
I'll ask him to do them. And if there's newsletters I get back in the mail for one of the organizations I do newsletters for, then he looks up to find a new address or he calls them and gets a new address from them. So he can do some of those tasks, which would take me a lot more time to do. So that's really helped me a lot.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you all. So I'm gonna pause again and see if there are any questions or raised hands.
We have some questions in the chat from earlier that I
Okay.
can go through.
Sure.
Um, let's see. Would you guys be able to share your social pages here? Um,
Yeah, how can people find you? Uh, Artist, do you wanna you
Sure.
share your website?
Yes, if you go to my website, which is easy, it's bazincommunications.com. The hardest part is spelling my name right. Bazyn, um, B as in boy, Azyn, communications.com. And also you can just look under my name, artistbazin.com. And on my website, there are links to my LinkedIn page and my Facebook page.
Nice.
And I have my contact information on there. You can email me or you can call me. So that's so I'm easy to find.
Thanks. Um, Monica, what about you?
So my studio is called Simply Hot Yoga, and our acronym is SHY, SHY. So our handle for like IG is just Shy Wellness. Our website is just shywellness.com. And then Facebook, you can find us under Simply Hot Yoga as well.
Okay.
And
Simple.
all of our information is on there, like contact and everything's on there as well.
Yep. Jason, what about you?
So our website is accessible pass like a football.net. And on our website, we have all of our social networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I think we also have our Twitter on there. We also have a contact us link, and everything about what we do is on the website. And actually, if you just Google J Paschal, Paschall. We have a great Google performance. You'll find all about us, including many of our accessible videos on our YouTube channel. And we do a lot of short videos on JAWS and various screen readers, Windows 10, Windows 11, how to do stuff. And we do that free just to keep that organic followership. So again, yeah, just go to the website and you can catch us.
All right, thanks.
Um, all right. And then another question we had is, are there any good online forums or Facebook groups for blind business owners to share info and ask questions?
Sure, I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, the Independent Visually Impaired Entrepreneurs is an organization of entrepreneurs of all kinds. And you can go to the website. It's just IV, as in Victor, IE dash ACB.org. And on that website, there's different links to different business information, and it tells about the organization. And we do have monthly calls on different business topics. This month, for example, we talked about how do you take care of inventory and other bookkeeping tips. And each month we do different calls, the second Sunday of the month. And we have a quarterly newsletter for members. And also anyone who joins the group, they can put in online listing on our website. So that gives you free advertising. But it's a good way to meet other business owners. We also have things at the National Convention of the American Council of the Blind. So it's a good organization for business owners to join if you're visually impaired. So
Thank you. Monica and Jason, do you guys have other resources that you've
Yeah,
joined?
so Facebook has a litany of groups that our company is involved in. We're Paschal Access Solutions LLC on Facebook, and we're involved with Coalition for the Blind. Um, there is so many that I can't even think of how many there are. But if you go to Facebook and go to the search field and type in blind groups, you will see a lot of them, and there are some great ones out there. I'm sorry, I can't think of all of them that we're involved with. It picked up so much through the years. Coalition for the Blind, Careers for the Blind. There's several on there. So go to your search field on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll find some.
Excellent, thanks. And what about you, Monica? Anything?
Not really. I mean, I kind of do the same thing. I mean, like if I'm looking for, a group or something, which would be nice to find, especially because if you can find someone that you can really associate with. But I really haven't done a lot of that. I mean, actually taking notes. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go on Facebook and find groups, I think, my first years, I mean, I know once we passed the year 10, it was like head down. I wasn't really able to even think about networking. And so in the past year also, we've been trying to do like more networking in different aspects and stuff. And so I would love to get out there to, chat with other businesses that are like our business owners that are, going through things that I go through.
Wow. Thank you. I know. I can't believe it. We've got like 5 minutes left.
Wow.
I'm so blown away. But I want to take our last 5 minutes and ask each of you to tell us what piece of advice would you give to somebody who is blind, who is thinking about starting a business? Artist, do you want to go? Artist, Monica, and then Jason.
sure. I think the first thing to consider if you're looking into entrepreneurship is to think about yourself, or how motivated are you? Or do you really like to take orders from someone else? If you like to do things for people, then you're better off to get a job. But if you like to do things on your own, you're willing to make the effort to look up what you need to do and go forward and can keep motivated, then entrepreneurship is definitely a good way to go forward.
All right, Monica, what about you? Piece of advice.
So my biggest piece of advice for anybody who wants to open your own business is, first and foremost, open your business in something that you love, like beyond the moon and back. So if sometimes, there's business ideas that are just a good idea, it's kind of trendy, and it's just like, oh, that would be kind of cool to have a coffee shop. But do you like coffee? Do you love coffee? Whatever it is, because times will get hard. And when times get hard, and if times are tough and you're doing something that you don't really like to do, it's a hard battle. And there's times where, like going through COVID. I mean, COVID was just awful, but I was like, I love making people feel good. I love teaching yoga. I love having people come to a space where they become better people. I send them off in the world. So, and I'm like, I don't want to go back to auditing. I don't want to go back to accounting. And so, because I just felt like I really found my passion. Like, this is what I'm supposed to, this is what I was put on earth to do, that there was never any looking back. So I find people that kind of just find a good idea because they just want to match it to opening up a business, and then they're in it, and then they just don't love it. I mean, like, but if you just love it, like when people will usually talk to me, they're like, you really love what you do. Can you tell? Can you tell? That gives you this phenomenal superpower strength to get through anything, because you want to provide this service or this product because you believe in it all the way to your soul. Then you'll survive. You'll survive. That's like my best thing. People come, I said, make sure that whatever you're deciding to do, you love it inside out, upside down, front and back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're creating your business, make sure you create a business that you can run, something that you love to do, like was just said, and it's approachable for you. Don't create a business that you think you're going to make $1 million. Guess what? You're not going to make $1 million in a couple of years. Maybe you will, but most likely you won't. It's going to be a lot of hard work. So make sure you love what you do, and it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's a long trail to get to the top of that trail. Um, a good friend, my mentor told me, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So the bottom line is you want to make a profit, right? And so make sure when you create your money, create your business, that you're going to make money. Yeah, it's going to take some work, but you're going to make money. Okay. And create a business that's relative to you, right? So, yoga, if you think about yoga in the blind senses, the aura of the senses, that kind of fits that persona, right? Don't create a business that doesn't meet what you are and who you are just because you got a great idea. Really sit back, do some research, see what it takes to be successful, and then go full steam, because it's going to be many hard nights, many long nights, and you're just going to have to be dedicated to what you do.
All right. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. I feel like, we've got 6 more hours of things to talk about, but
We got businesses to run.
yeah, I know, but we're out of time. We're out of time. And as you said, you guys have businesses to run. So let me just say thank you so much to our business owners, Jason, Monica, and artists. I also want to thank our ASL interpreters. And as always, want to thank Elena for being here and being our host. And absolutely, I also want to thank you, our participants, for choosing to attend this career webinar. Um, we are deeply, deeply appreciative that you choose to join us today. And I truly hope that the information you heard today helps you, gives you more tools so that you can pursue your own career exploration and development. So thank you all for joining us and for being here. This is part one of a series of three. So please look for the announcement about the webinar in February and come back and join us. And thank you all.
Thanks
We
for
are,
having us.
thank
Well,
you so
good night
much.
and thanks for inviting.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
God bless.